Okay, and we're going to start with just a very basic question here. Let's say it's x squared plus 5x plus 4 equals 0, and we're asked to solve using the quadratic formula. Okay. Can you tell me the values of a, b, and c in this equation?
A, I don't know about A, but B is 5 and C is 4.
Good. Now, whenever there's nothing written in front of a variable, there is an x there, or a 1 there in front of the x. Okay, so now what would the value of a be?
1.
1. Good. All right. Okay, do you remember the quadratic formula?
It's like f of x something. I don't really.
Okay, so it's a formula for x. X is minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, like that.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So sometimes you got to remember it. Sometimes they give it to you on the test or the quiz. I'll always give you the formulas. I just asked to see if you know it, just kind of gauge where you're at here. So a couple of things about the formula. It's almost better written this way, where the variables or the constants are in parentheses. So when you substitute for values of a, b, and c, you really want to do that in parentheses. And we'll talk about why in a moment. The other thing is, this is fraught with just places where you might make a mistake with in terms of the calculation or sign errors, order of operations, things like that. It looks awful, looks really difficult to start, but it is doable here. So I'm going to work through a problem here, and you can just kind of follow along here. So minus parentheses 5 plus or minus the square root of 5 squared minus 4 times 1 times 4, like that, all over 2 times 1. So all I did was take the values of a, b, and c and put them into this formula. Have you seen that before?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Okay. So now we're going to focus on the square root part, the part under the square root. We've got a square 5, that's 25. And then you're subtracting, but you subtract after you multiply. 4 times 1 times 4 is 16. 25 minus 16 is 9. So the idea here is that you got to get the part under the root down. That's really critical. So this becomes negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 9 all over 2. Do you know the square root of 9?
3.
3. Okay, so it's minus 5 plus or minus 3 over 2. This is actually two things. You have to kind of break them apart here. Minus 5 plus 3 divided by 2, minus 5 minus 3 divided by 2. Could you simplify those for me, please?
Yeah, that's it's that negative 4 and
So the one on the right is negative 4.
another one it is 1.
It is 1. Good. Okay. So what do you remember about the quadratic formula? What do you remember is kind of the most difficult part of it, or what you might not like about it?
I didn't understand how to do it because it looks really complex. So I didn't know what to do.
I would agree. It looks really overwhelming. Okay, so I'm going to have you help me with the next problem here, but I'm going to have you kind of step through it with me. Okay, let's go. Let's look at this one here. Again, can you tell me the values of A, B, and C?
A is 1, B is 5, and C is 6.
Yes. Now the quadratic formula has this part under the square root, b squared minus 4ac. Do you remember me writing that earlier?
Oh yeah.
This is where most of the problems occur. So would you attempt calculating b squared minus 4ac for me to with those given numbers?
Um, and it's 1.
It is 1. Good. So the quadratic formula minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. The reason you might calculate the discriminant first, this is called the discriminant, is because it's the most complicated part of it. But now you know that part into the root. So you can write the rest of the stuff minus 5 plus or minus the square root of 1 all over 2 times 1. So will you attempt to simplify it from here and give me the two answers?
Yeah. 2 and -3.
2 and -3. You've got some sign errors on that. Let's look at that one more time. So it becomes -5 plus 1 over 2, and the other one is -5 minus 1 over 2. Is that similar to what you have written down or different?
Yeah, that's what I have.
Okay, so let's look at the numerator. -5 plus 1, what would that become?
-4.
Over 2 is -2.
Yeah.
And then what do you got here? The bottom,
-6 divided by 2.
-3. So I think I heard you say like 2 and -3 or -2 and +3. Maybe I misunderstood, but these are the correct answers.
Mm.
All right, good job here. So I would like you to try one on your own, start to finish here. X squared minus x minus 20 equals 0. And what I'd like you to do is give me the value of b squared minus 4ac first, just to kind of check that you're on the right track. But this is a chance for you to see if you can work it out before you move into more difficult problems on your own. And of course, if you have questions, please ask.
Okay. The discriminant is -79.
So there's this little signer there. Let's take a or more, maybe more than that. What's the value of a, b, and c?
1, 1, and 20.
All right, so there's the issue. So the operator is it goes with it. So b is actually -1 and c is actually -20. So you look at the coefficient like this, it's that, all of that, and all of that. All right, so go ahead and recalculate that. You'll get a slightly different value.
+79.
Yeah, let's look at this again here. So one of the things that I mentioned earlier, and this is one of those things to just see if you were catching on here. You really want to look at it like this, where the constants are in parentheses. So parentheses -1 squared minus 4 times 1 times -20. My guess is the mistake is over here. What is -1 squared?
1.
1. And then it's +1. That's -1 times negative. Two negatives make a positive. On the right here, you have a choice. You can either kind of see this as -4 times 1 times -20, or 4 times 1 times -20, then account for the negative here. What does this become when you multiply it? How do you see it?
80.
So +80. So if you treat this as -4 times -20 is 80. 1 plus 80 is 81, like that. All right, so here is the rest of it. Okay, you've already got that part under the square root. You have the value of b and you have a. Can you finish it off from here?
Yeah. Um, a 5 or 3.5.
Okay, so just a small, just detecting a little thing there. So it's negative parentheses -1 plus or minus the square root of 81 all over 2 times 1. Does yours look something like that or different for now?
Yeah, a little bit.
So again, that you gotta put those variables in parentheses when you're substituting in. So it's 1 plus or minus 9 over 2. And then you go, okay, 1 plus 9 over 2, 1 minus 9 over 2. So I agree with your first answer, 5, but go ahead and try that second one more time.
4, -4.
Yes. All right. So again, just kind of seeing a few little minor things here. No big deal though. We'll clean them up. So let's actually try that a little bit here. Let me say it's let's have you try this. -6 plus or minus the square root of 64 over -2. Could you try simplifying this for me, please?
Okay. -1 and 7.
So just again, just to kind of, trying my best here to get you to see where maybe some things are going wrong here. It's -6 plus 8 and then -6 minus 8 over -2. I made this a little bit different. The one on the left here becomes +2 over -2, which is -1. Okay. Was that what you said? Maybe I'm sorry. Maybe I misunderstood. You said -1 and 7, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you are correct. I apologize. I didn't pick up on that at first. Very good. Awesome. Okay. So we're going to all of the quadratic formulas that I've given you so thus far tonight, they've been kind of on the easier side because they work out nicely. And when I say nicely, you know the square root of 1, you know the square root of 4, square root of 9, and so on, right? Square root of 1 is 1, square root of 4 is 2, square root of 9 is 3, and 4. How far up do you feel like you know your square roots?
Um, I know that the square root of 81 is 9.
Okay, how about how about past that, like square root of 100?
Oh, 10.
Okay, so notice the relationship. 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16. Notice how if you square the number, you get the number under the root. So
Yeah.
another way I can ask you this is, how big of a square do you feel like you know without having to write something down?
Um, 30, like 6 squared is
Okay, so
32, right?
5 squared is 25, 6 squared is
Oh, and then I know 8 squared is
good.
64.
Good. Okay, good. Now, this might be new, and that's why I'm not sure what to expect here. Can you tell me how to determine the square root of something like 20? Okay, and
Yeah, yeah, I think so. So don't you like find the closest square root on like the number line?
that does work. Yeah, so like we know that it's between the square root of 16 and the square root of 25. Let me give you the answer and see if you've seen this before. Have you seen a factor tree before?
Yeah.
You have. Oh, that's good. Okay. And you're right. It is between 4 and 5. The square root of 20 is right there kind of in the middle, but it's actually reduced down to 2 square root of 5. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to reduce roots. Do you know the smallest prime number?
Isn't it 1?
1 is not prime. 1 is not prime. It's the common wrong answer. Even
And
though it,
2?
say that again.
2?
There's 2. All right. So the second prime number is 3, and then 5, and then 7, and so on. Okay. So the way we're going to reduce roots is based on prime numbers, right? So let's look at something else. Let's look at the square root of 28. So what you do is you always start with the smallest prime number that goes into 28. Does 2 go into 28?
Yeah.
2 times what number gets you back to 28?
14.
And then does 2 work again?
Yeah.
What's 14 divided by 2?
7.
7. You stop when you have all prime numbers on the leaves out here. And you look for pairs. Do you see how there's a pair of 2s?
Yeah.
For each pair, you can bring one out. If you don't have a pair, it stays in. So your answer is a part outside the root and inside the root. So your answer to the square root of 28 is 2 on the outside, square root of 7 on the inside. Have you seen this before?
I know.
No. Okay. That's good to know because quadratic formula requires you to know how to use square roots. And that's what I'm trying to assess here tonight, kind of that. So your dad mentioned you had a test today. Any questions on there you can remember or anything that you remember studying on the test or seeing on the test to maybe talk about a little bit?
Yeah, we had a quadratic formula thing with the discriminant. And
Okay.
then we had like an area problem, but it was like polynomials kind of.
Okay. Maybe something like this where they say a square pool has a walkway around it, maybe something
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
just like that. That was a
Okay.
problem.
They're
Yeah.
kind of predictable, truthfully. These problems here, they're not very creative. Let's say it's a 3-foot walkway all the way around. Okay. That means that this dimension is 3, this dimension is 3. If you go up, it's 3, 3, 3. All of those are 3. Is that clear on your screen?
Yeah.
Approximately. So we need the dimension of the outside.
We
Okay.
had like the reverse of that where we had to find the 3.
Okay. Well, let's just do this way. We're making up a problem here. What's the dimension of the outside? The inside is X, but what do I need to add? What do you add to it to get the full width here?
6.
X plus 6. And how about going the other way?
X plus 6.
Good. So to find the area, it's X plus 6 times X plus 6. What's your comfort level with FOIL?
I don't know that word.
You've never seen this before. How do you multiply these together if you do?
You go 6 times 6 and X times X, I think.
Okay. Yeah, there's a bit more to it. So you're saying your problem was a little bit different. Do you remember any of the numbers from your problem or anything about it?
Yeah, kind of. It was an 8 by, I think, yeah, an 8 by 5 pool. And the fence had a area of like 130.
I see. So the area of, or the perimeter was 130 or?
The area.
Okay, so the total area was 130 and you had to figure out the walkway here.
Yeah, we had to figure out the distance to the fence. Yeah.
I see. Okay. So the way I'm seeing this is it's kind of very similar to what we just had. It said it was 8 plus 2x And then the other way would be 5 plus 2x. But
Uh,
then, but then, but then if you're not familiar with FOIL, I'm not quite sure how you would proceed here. Did you, maybe it was perimeter,
um,
or do you think it
I
was area?
I think it was area, but I did it wrong because I didn't realize it was both sides, so I just
Ah,
did 8 plus x and 5 plus x,
I
and
see.
then
I
I
see.
found that, and by just like making a chart.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Let's do one more problem here. Let's do x squared plus x plus 1. And I just want you to find the discriminant for me, please.
That's like the thing inside the okay.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Uh, -3.
It is -3. Good. All right. Maybe our last question, we'll see. Let's say I give you a problem like this. I tell you it's x squared minus 9 equals 0. Notice that this is not in the form ax squared plus bx plus c. Can you tell me the value of a, b, and c for this?
Yeah. Is it
I've actually already given you a.
1, and then isn't it 1 because x is the invisible one where it's
So when it's missing, you treat it like this, 0 times x,
oh,
because 0 times anything means that it's not there. If you put a 1, it's held. It's kind of held there. All right,
like
so b would be 0 and c would be -9.
here.
Will you calculate the discriminant for us, please?
Yeah. -36.
Try again with your signs here. It's 0 squared minus 4 times 1 times -9.
Oh, +36.
Yes, positive 36. Good. All right. We're going to go ahead and stop there for today. This is just a try it out lesson just to see